Ooh, this lighting is yellow. Wow. What is going on? Okay. So I was opening up this video to talk about personal accountability and responsibility. And one thing I find myself going back and forth between is in studying God, the Christian God, the moment of weakness in human is basically when God can do his work. And so there's moments where I appreciate that because I can admit weakness, and then there's moments where I feel like I have to admit weakness where I'm actually not weak, and it turns into this big ego game of who's doing what and who should be giving thanks and who's not helping. And what I like about the Godhead is like when we are worshiping and doing everything in the name of Christ or God, everything we do good, all our efforts are in the name of that. It's becoming kind of like a walking prayer, or like everything that you do is a prayer. Everything that you attempt to be is just prayer-like. And excuse me. Now, where I get caught up is that I heard somebody say in the past year, but we don't want to have the responsibility. And it was a weird moment because I heard this person say it in the room. It was in a room of people, and it was like, did I just hear that right? Responsibility. And it's really got me thinking, like, of what and whom. And when when I'm in an upset state, that's one of the things that I find myself complaining about or expressing concern about is nobody wants to take responsibility. Everybody's always shifting the blame. And it reminds me of like hot potato, like where you throw the potato from hands to hands and nobody wants to hold on to it and get burned. They're afraid that if they hold on to the responsibility that they'll get burned. But the truth is that if they hold on to their responsibility, what they're responsible for, then they won't get burned. No one will get burned because that means everything is in alignment. So that's one thing we can pray about, is to have discernment as to know what is my responsibility, what is your responsibility, and what is our responsibility to each other as well, because we are connected. But I really do struggle with the whole community thing because it feels like community is very sold out. If I can't even get along with my own, core family unit, what makes you think I'm going to be getting along with a community? Like, it's like, if you can't I really feel that way. If you can't get along with your own just self, like, what makes you think you're going to have a community to really have your back? Like, that's the truth. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't love yourself, it doesn't matter what community you're in. So, but I have seen, like, and I will, at some concerts, I will say, you can see, it's not a communal thing, it's like a collective thing, like the whole crowd at the concert, and everybody's moving together and dancing together, and it's very unified, but it's also not forced. There's an option to not dance, So the responsibility of our community gets intertwined with our personal daily responsibilities. We give up our personal daily responsibilities in the name of the community, but the community doesn't give back to us because it can't, because it's a concept. God is not a concept. God can give back to us. So when we give ourselves up to God, we get something back. And that's not necessary. And it is why we do some of the things we do, because we need to be sustained. We need to continue to live. And when you believe in God, you're speaking life into your existence, and so you continue on. You're not living at the end of the sentence. You're in the middle of the writing of the sentence. And the frustration that I see, one thing, this is a good one. I've noticed over the years that when people, like, in the moment are wrong, there's a quick moment where we can say, oh, I just fucked up. I just said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, my bad, let me fix it. But more often than not, I find people right in the moment, it's immediately, you have the choice right in the moment to catch yourself, or most people all of a sudden start talking about what somebody else did wrong. They don't actually just stand there and say, oh, I just fucked up, I need to fix this. They keep something else going. They keep this whole other thing going, they don't acknowledge the moment and what's happening in the moment. They don't take responsibility or accountability for their actions. They change the subject completely and then talk about somebody else doing something wrong. Which, yeah, sure, they did something wrong, but what's that got to do with you? Like, what are you gonna, like, they have to be the ones to fix it. And so, yeah, like, in some situations, like, where there's just madness and chaos, like, there's really, like, it's like you really look around and it's like there's really nothing wrong. There's no threat. Nobody's holding a gun to anybody's head. It's not like an immediate physical threat. It's like there's just chaos, just people just being offended and petty and picking at everything and everyone. And it's just like being eaten by vultures, or like it's like there's nothing wrong. There's nothing to fix, but everybody's trying to fix something. And so that's like this false accountability. That's like false personal accountability. It's like we're fixing things that don't need fixing. And if you think about it, when we're growing up, right? I'm raising a 4-year-old son right now who's going to be 5 soon. Half of the time, he's great at imagining things, right? He can imagine being all of the characters, all the doctor, the villain, the artist, the whatever. But like, you can sit there and you can pretend all day to be cutting pie, but when it comes to making the pie and cutting the pie, nobody actually knows how to do it. Because our whole lives, the whole beginning of our lives, we're all taught to pretend. So we're all really good at pretending. But when it comes being real and like going through the realness of it, it's like nobody wants to deal with it. And I can understand, like, I have empathy for it, like compassion for it. Yeah, that's true. We did spend the majority of our young adulthood, child life pretending to be things. And our parents bought us toys. We watched movies. It's all it's all a mind thing. And so we have these fantastic imaginations, but when it comes to putting them into action, there's just this emptiness, this just offendedness almost. It's like people are offended that we would actually try to actualize these imaginings. And so, yeah, the thing that is interesting when it comes to God, there's moments where it's like, yeah, but, doesn't God want me to believe in myself? Doesn't God want me to own it and have accountability for, like, I need to own it. I need to take my strength, take my power back, take my, own my life. And there's something to that. But there's parts of it, I guess maybe just make credit go where it's due. It's like, it takes a lot of courage and strength to get through certain things, and God being there with you to get through that is what you can be grateful for. But you did get through that. And it's not a matter of, like, when you go through something hard, you're not trying to really prove anything to anybody after that. Like, it's such a traumatizing thing. Whereas when you haven't actually been through something hard, you're like kind of walking around trying to convince everybody to feel some way for you, have some kind of empathy for you. But you haven't been through. It's not real. It's an imagined thing. And it's hard to tell somebody what they're going through is an imagination when it feels so real. It's not what I'm getting at. I'm not trying to negate somebody's experience. In fact, I'm doing just the opposite. I think your experience is the key to your life. Your own experience is what's going to bring you closer to God, is getting to know what you are and what your limits are and strengths are. And in terms of purpose, like at the time that we are in the world, I really do think that the purpose is just to learn what love is and how to get along in a loving way, and to just kind of be patient with the day-to-day, learn the cycles of the earth and take care of the earth. Don't destroy the planet is really what I think. Just do your best to not hurt no one and yourself. But that doesn't mean that just because somebody acts hurt that you're doing anything wrong. And a lot of people walk around acting hurt, and they're not. And those that feel for them feel betrayed because they realize that there's nothing wrong.